I'm so used to talking about my saying in my own video. I'm so used to talking about my own videos now.
Hey, we're rusty.
Yeah.
We're rusty. We haven't done this in a few
Yeah,
weeks.
because
They put a cheer sound effect at the end of... Yeah, guys, it turns out working is bad for your health. Again, artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen.
hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and as always, I'm Teddy Maggart from the iTunes Fanboy, and in this video, and welcome back to the
name
iTunes
is Alpha
Fanboy
DeWolf.
podcast. I'm so used to talking about my saying in my own video. I'm so used to talking about my own videos now.
Hey, we're rusty.
Yeah.
We're rusty. We haven't done this in a few
Yeah,
weeks.
because our last episode, we were supposed to have APR2K on as a guest, but he still hasn't sent over his clip, so we had to scrap that episode. And unfortunately, TabbyCat406 is not with us.
Yeah, we're making do with what we've got, and the thing is, there's been so much news to talk
Yes,
about
there's
since
a
the
lot.
time we've been gone.
Hang on, there's
So,
looks like there's some duplicate topics,
Alrighty.
so...
something going on. Oh, yeah. Come on, Touch ID. Why do you refuse to work? I hate Touch ID.
Okay, we're good to talk about our first topic, which is...
Goodness gracious.
iOS 18.
Alrighty, yep. So, the internet has been begging for a redesign.
They got it. I can see where this is going.
Yeah, so, in a sense, we got a redesign. It's just Apple didn't fundamentally change the whole new look where they basically erased the entire old look that we're used to. No, we still have the old look, except this time, we get to customize it. We get to choose how we want it to be designed.
I mean, once I get an
To an
iPhone
extent.
running iOS 18 or whenever I upgrade, then that'll be I mean, I'll just keep it stock, honestly, because I just don't. I mean, the iOS 18 redesign, it's not a horrible redesign, but I mean, it is just looking a little more like Android. But again, you know, people have been begging to be able to place icons wherever they.
Well, then again, that's if you choose to...
Yeah.
Yeah, then again, that's if you choose to place your icons anywhere else. I mean, to be honest, though, I do know people have a valid reason for doing that, and I can understand why people want to place their icons at the bottom of the screen. It's just better for reachability.
And I suppose Apple's having factor in that because so many people are switching from Android to iOS, they have to sort of factor in and give people what they're used to on Android.
Yeah, so I'll say I'm glad that they didn't completely drastically change their design language. They've just updated it in ways that if the individual user is going to be that snotty about customization, they finally get it to an extent. I mean, there's only one caveat where it's still technically not Android levels of customization, but one thing that I liked is how they changed dark mode in the icons. How it'll change the white background to a black.
I'm
do like that for dark mode.
biggest fan of that, but again, I don't. But again, I also don't use dark mode, so I don't. So I don't know, but one thing I really do like about iOS 18 is the control center redesign. Like, it looks so good. It looks so good. I like how rounded the controls. I like how rounded the controls are, and
to me, that looks so Android, though. Because when you look at Android's control center, it's all rounded circular buttons, and that's how most Android devices' app screens are laid out. It's all circular stuff. To me, it looks so Android.
Actually, that is a pretty good point, because... Yeah, let me grab it, because I guess... oh, yeah. I own a Pixel 6a now. I'll grab it and so I can show the UI because I don't use a lot of my non-Apple phones very much, so this would be a good excuse for me to.
And if I recall, doesn't Xiaomi use a control center design similar to that?
I mean, Xiaomi's a pirate firm, but yeah. But I think so. But yeah, look at the brightness control on the Pixel 6a.
It looks so... It looks just like the iOS 18 redesign. I mean, I get it. It's design. It's always going to be subjective whether we like it or not, though. I just think the new control center redesign makes it look a lot more like Android.
Again, I just like more sometimes I like more rounded off things. Sometimes there's other times I don't. Like for example, I believe I've rambled on this on TIFP before, but I do not like the windows in macOS Big Sur and higher because my biggest pet peeve that I know is a minor detail is that back in macOS Catalina, you used to be able to lower windows all the way down, so that way it would touch all four corners, and you wouldn't, and so you wouldn't have a teeny tiny little gap. But now in macOS Big Sur and higher, you have that, and so again, this is why I wish Apple would go back to macOS Catalina design, but they did not give me that in Sequoia.
Yeah. I mean, the ability to dynamically customize the control center like that, I find that very interesting. I don't think I'd make that many changes to the way the default control center layout is.
There's only...
I definitely minimize the do not disturb icon, though. That is one change that I know I would make. I don't need that big.
I don't know what I would do personally, because again, I don't own anything on iOS 18 yet, so I don't know, but I'd probably just mess around with the controls, like when I discovered that the control center is modular, actually in iOS 12, even though it's 11 feature that I'm going to be covering in my video tomorrow.
So, yeah, those are the two biggest things that I know have changed. I gotta reference my old notes because it's been, 10 days since the event?
The only other feature I really like about iOS 18, which really goes for all of Apple's operating systems, is the topographic maps. Like, I really like that.
Yeah, it's cool. I mean, especially around here where we have so many hills and, well, trails as well. So, yeah, adventuring off the beaten path has gotten massive updates for Apple Maps. Oh, here's another change that they made as well. You know how literally everyone on the internet was complaining about the two buttons at the bottom
you can change
the lock screen here? Yeah, you can now change those out to something you want, which I am definitely changing that camera app to something else. They give you too many ways to access the camera from the lock screen.
I would keep the controls as is. Because I like...
Yeah, I don't know what I changed the camera to, but I don't need a secondary camera shortcut. I usually swipe the screen to the right. So,
but I am just... By the way, this is Jordan Rills' wallpaper, who's been a guest on the show, but... I just usually use that to open the camera on my phone if I intend to. But again, you can... Hi, Jim.
I found that slower.
A second or two in speed doesn't mind. I don't care that much.
Well, then again, I still have 3D touch, so...
Yeah, luckily I don't have that anymore.
Dude, why did they axe that?
I was being sarcastic, by the way, since I was making a joke about how old your phone is, but... Yeah, why did Apple axe 3D touch?
That really was a good one, though.
Well, actually...
They should not
let me see if my iPhone 10 has juice, so that way I can demo it compared to my 14 Pro. Because unfortunately my 10S is, well, I need to get this fixed. This is my 10.
Yeah, Surprised you didn't get that fixed at your Apple Store
I'm not
while you
paying
were
that
there.
kind of price to get that phone fixed. It's not worth that much money. No, my 10 does not juice.
Oh well.
I'll have to charge it up again sometime later this next month for one of my videos. Which you might. I'm not gonna say what video it is, but if you know my channel and you know what I like to do in July, you know what my pot could be. What do you think it is?
Oh dear. Yes, it's probably going to be another Apple Collection update.
That's when I like to do Apple.
Oh shoot! I forgot to do that this April.
I like to do Apple Collection videos just so that way I can. It's okay, Al. I like doing Apple Collection videos just so that way I can check on all my devices. And for one of my Apple Collection videos, hang on, grab it, or my last one actually. The stupid 2012 MacBook Pro wouldn't boot up when I tried to film that segment, so I had to fiddle around with it for like 15 minutes before I was able to film that segment. And that's my working one that usually works, mind you.
Yeah, other than that, the only the only thing left I can think of for iOS 18 though, iMessage got a lot of enhancements. Schedule sending. Right. We have more emojis for the tapbacks. Text effects. I think Tabby tried to play around with that in their group chat, except because we don't have iOS 18, we're not going to be able to see it.
Yeah, I don't mind text effects because text effects. I mean, I don't know. It's pretty big. It's not. It's just a little bit fancy, but again, it'd be. But again, like as that one commenter said, these features being there are not a problem.
Yeah. It's just fun things that still continue to give us a reason to stay with iMessage and not use RCS.
Which, by the way, is also coming to iOS 18.
Yeah, dude, I am so happy my iPhone is getting that. Because literally almost everyone I text are Android people. The only iMessage people I text is literally our group chat. That's
most of the people that I text are usually you have iPhones, so it's not as big. So that's not as big of an issue. But I still text some Android users, but I usually just don't text foes or anything. Just because I just is not how I text.
Yeah, sadly, I rely too much on SMS and MMS right now, and that's because I have to send lots of pictures to my boss, and so I always have to do it via the slow MMS protocol.
Yeah, luckily.
That can't do it over Wi-Fi.
Yeah, luckily I'll probably still have to deal with SMS. Luckily, I get to deal with SMS and MMS for longer than you. Because this is not because I'm not updating this bad boy.
Yeah, you know how everyone thinks that because now iPhones are getting RCS, everyone now has a reason to switch to Android?
If everybody switched to Android, then they'd all have RCS. Then everybody would have RCS. And it's still inferior to iMessage.
Yeah, that's the thing. iMessage is still technically better, so to be honest, it's really iPhone users getting an upgrade, while the Android people are getting a side grade. I don't know.
All right, I suppose we should move on to one of my other favorite features for iPadOS 18, which this is my favorite feature of iPadOS 18. This is a big one, everybody.
I know what it is.
Okay, you all probably know it. iPads are getting calculators. A feature that should A feature that
that should have been there 14 years ago. Yep.
Feature that this should have had.
Yes. Yeah, dude, I keep forgetting I still have one. Where is it?
I have 3. Only 2 of them work though.
Yep, I have one of these too, in case the internet forgot. This one's the cellular one.
Is the battery expanding on that one, or is it just dead? Or are you?
Considering the display's not bulging alt, it's just bad. Like, I'll plug it in and it just power cycles.
That's a very
That's all
common.
it does.
You can apparently fix that on the iPad 1 if you take it apart and use and you have to get electrical tape to plug it and cut a USB cable in half and then plug it into an Apple 5-watt adapter. And that sometimes revives iPad first generation batteries, but I haven't tried that yet because I don't have the proper tools.
Neither do I, nor do I have the time.
Actually, I should maybe get the tools and try that on my iPad 1 that's boot looping. Or else just get a battery.
iFixit's got everything.
Well, I would just need some way. I just need to get opening tools since I already have cables that I could realistically cut in half, and I would just have to get electrical tape.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, anywho, back to the calculator thing. I suppose you did not watch the event.
But
you just looked at the website
but
again.
But there's one feature that I'm very excited for. But I'll let you finish first.
Yeah. The reason why I'm bringing that up, though, is because there's a hilarious Easter egg in that event when they announced the calculator app. They put a cheer sound effect at the end of... We're bringing calculator to iPad. They put a cheer sound effect for it. And it wasn't like the children's stock iMovie cheer that everyone is familiar with. It sounded like a frustrated "what took you so long" kind of
Almost
yay.
as if Apple knows that took them 14 years too long.
I laughed so hard when I heard that sound effect go off. I'm like, oh my goodness, Apple, they know that it took them way too long to give us this feature. Oh my goodness.
The iPad
is too funny.
The iPad should have had a calculator longer than some of our viewers have been alive.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure there are people that watch this show there.
But hey, it came in with a bang, though.
And one thing I really like about the iPadOS calculator is got to be math notes, because on my school iPad, which hopefully my administrators will let me update as soon as it comes out, because especially if I have math first semester, because math notes will literally change the game, since I can now know whether the work I'm doing is correct.
Yeah, that is going to be so helpful, and I'm pretty sure teachers are going to hate that.
I suppose the way I could show again, I will of course immediately I probably will talk to my math teacher next year about it, but I'll see if he or she won't mind if I just send screenshots to show proof that I do the work. Or
yeah, I mean, I have yet to ask my mom about this because she was an algebra teacher. So I'd have to see what she thinks of this. But I know that I would have appreciated this feature back when I was in school, because I know how to do the math, okay? I was pretty good at math. My issue was sometimes my brain and my hand have different ideas of what I'm writing. So I will generate the correct answer in my head for one specific part of the equation, but my hand will write something completely different. And as I'm continuing to solve the rest of the equation, I reference back up that number I just written. It's the wrong number, and it makes the rest of the equation wrong, and I generate the wrong answer, all because my hand decided to write something different than my brain.
Yeah, it's very irritating, and I wish this feature were there last year to help me out throughout probably the hardest class I've ever taken. Okay.
You're not in calculus yet.
I'm not. I don't believe you. Once I get to that kind of level of math, I have a choice of what classes I can take, or what type of math I can take.
Yeah, that would have been so useful. How many years ago?
Don't tell me. Alright, well, I still like the calculator app redesign on the iPhone, how you can reference back, because sometimes...
Mm-hmm. Oh, wait! I almost forgot. Remember how I brought up the idea of put a graphing calculator on it? They actually did! They did! They mentioned it in the presentation and they showed it off. All you have to do is write y equals whatever your equation is, and it'll insert a graph.
When I have to take Algebra 2, that'll be so helpful. At least, I think Algebra 2 involves graphs.
I know, right? Yeah, Algebra 2 definitely does.
Alright.
So, yeah, they took me up on that suggestion! Gosh, this calculator app came in with a banger, despite how late it came in.
It really did. I'm so... If my school administers...
It's the thing. We should be mad. We should be mad, but how are we supposed to be mad when we got this great of a calculator? I can't even think of a better calculator on Android that can compete with this.
Well, iPadOS 18 didn't really come in with any features, and now that I'm thinking about it, I don't really remember anything that watchOS 11 or macOS Sequoia brought. Revision OS 2 brought, for that matter. Other than the...
Yeah, watchOS and visionOS, really, I mean, I still have my old notes from when I made my recap video. What we got for watchOS was the training load. Oh, here's a controversial one, too. Goal cheats.
Oh, God, I really hate that, because look, I know there are some days when I'm not able to close my rings for whatever reason. Like, let's say I'm just really busy, or let's say the weather is bad, or let's say somebody's...
Or let's say you're sitting in a car for 10 to 12 hours for
Or let's say
somebody's
school decides to ban Apple Watches.
Yeah, that sucks. That's terrible. But at the end of the day, it's still being very... What's the word?
Yeah.
Dishonest?
Yeah, it's not a good idea. I hope they remove that in the future betas, because to be honest, like no one wants to pause rings, and it just sounds lazy.
Yeah, those who do, I can at least take pride in the fact that I've been closing my rings, well, I can't say every day because there has been a few days where I just couldn't, but as much as possible. I can at least take pride in when I close my rings.
And I also like not having to remember to turn them on, because you never know what life will throw at you, because you can even count walking as towards your rings, which the last I checked, most of us walk every day.
Yeah, I'm surprised though how much I actually don't walk. Because I have compared with some other friends that I have who have step tracking, and I have only a fraction of what basically everyone I talk to have. And that's because all I do all day is I'm either sitting at my desk, be it this desk in here or my desk at the office doing work there, or I am standing at a machine. I'm just not walking around that much. Yeah, guys, it turns out working is bad for your health.
That's why it's a good thing. That's why I like this. That's why I like this podcast, because I can stand up during it.
Yeah, I mean, I've already closed my standing ring, so I'm done with that for today. But yeah, apparently working is bad for your health. So oftentimes I have to make up the rest of my time just standing and sitting around. I have to do it in the basement. So
Yeah, that's enough.
still, I don't like the idea of gold cheating like that. Look, I get it. It sucks when you get hurt and therefore you can't exercise because you need to heal. I get it. It sucks that you have to break your streak because of that. But would you really feel good about yourself if you still decided to cheat your way through? When has cheating ever been the correct answer?
Cheating is never the answer.
Never has it ever been, and never will it ever be. So, yeah, I'm not a fan of that.
But speaking of cheating, I guess this would be a great segue into our last topic about Dub.
Such as
Apple Intelligence.
we didn't even talk about macOS Sequoia.
What came in macOS Sequoia?
One of my personal favorite features from, yes, I'm saying it, Windows. My number one complaint with macOS has always been window management. It's just terrible. There's no way around that. I love macOS, but window management is not one of the things I love about macOS. It has always sucked. Finally, we have native Windows snapping.
I personally don't mind the lack of Windows snapping that much, but again, I also never used it on Windows, so...
It is something I use all the time, even to this day, because I still use my XPS. Seriously, window management on macOS has always been terrible, and I still don't like the way it full screens. I despise how every single time you full screen a window, it basically has to remove the top menu bar and hide the dock, and it even gets rid of your window controls, so you have to swipe your mouse all the way to the very top of the screen so it detects, oh hey, I want to control this window now. I never liked that. I don't understand why Apple insists on doing it that way.
I get for sometimes... Actually, that's a good point, because I watch YouTube videos in full screen on my iPad, so that way I can open up a YouTube video and the Notes app if I need to take notes for my podcast or something. But on my Mac, I can't. I can't full screen it.
Yeah, it's really annoying. I mean, because I have YouTube Premium, I have picture-in-picture abilities, so I can use picture-in-picture for YouTube videos over the rest of my desktop. But even then, I never use the green button, basically, because I hate how it full screens. I always end up having to take my window and drag it to the top of the screen, then I have to stretch it out every single time. It's just... if macOS did full screen the same way Windows does, maybe I'd be complaining less. But because they choose to do it in such a worse way, I have to complain. And so I hope that one of the snapping settings allows you to basically drag it to the top of the menu bar, basically, and then it'll realize, oh, hey, let's full screen this whole thing. And yes, I know the trick where you can double tap the top of the window to get it to full screen like that, but it doesn't work on every window. It doesn't. So anything to improve window management on the Mac, I am happy for. So, yeah. Oh, and then you get to mirror your iPhone, so when you're using continuity camera, you can still browse your iPhone on the Mac.
Well, I actually like that, but for a different reason.
Why's that?
Let's say my iPhone screen is broken and I still need to navigate my iPhone for some reason.
True. I mean, I guess that's another way to use your phone while waiting to take it to the Genius Bar to get it repaired.
Or should I say the idiot bar, as there often are.
No, the Idiot Bar. The Idiot Bar the staff at the Idiot Bar is John and Sam.
They're not the idiot bar.
They can be sometimes. They used to have a dedicated segment on their show called The Idiot Bar.
Oh,
And they had
I
their
never really
own
watched
little
the show
theme intro with it.
The idiot bar.
Yeah. And
Maybe we should introduce that segment. I know it's their thing, but maybe we should introduce something like that to TIFP.
Oh my goodness. We do too many side tangents. I don't know how we could hold off the side tangents but...
Yeah, we do. Yeah, that's true. We do way too many side tangents.
So...
We should rename it to... How about we rename it to TSTP for the Side Tangent Podcast?
That probably wouldn't be that bad of a name, actually. Oh, goodness. So... But yeah, those are two big things that I can think of that came to macOS. My favorite being the new window management system, because for too long it has sucked on macOS. Other than that,
Vision OS.
yeah, there's nothing noteworthy about Vision OS.
Oh yeah, there is something noteworthy about the Vision Pro that I thought I should mention that you might like to hear.
What's that?
I looked on eBay just to see how much used Apple Vision Pros cost, and you want to know how much they cost on eBay?
Probably too much.
$2,600.
I was right.
I mean, it's too much money, but still, that's a $900 decline in value within just a few months.
That is really bad, especially for an Apple product.
So I think I might be able to afford one, and we might be able to afford Vision Pros without Apple having to release a Vision SE.
Yeah, except good luck getting prescription lenses. Oh wait, that's my problem. Yeah, everyone thought that Apple Watches had to be the worst depreciating Apple product in history, but no, apparently it's Vision Pro. Because I'm even surprised at still how expensive some Intel Macs even are today.
Oh yes, my 2019 MacBook Pro. Let me look up to see how much the 16-inch 2019 MacBook Pro is, because now I'm curious.
I am very curious. What's the value of your laptop today?
Or my old laptop, I should say.
Oh yeah, your old one. Because you're on the new black MacBook Pro.
Around $500. Already declined by $100.
So it's at 500 now? Okay, that's not too terrible.
Yeah, my mom, for instance, just got one of these for Christmas that cost $1,500 because she thought it was a good deal.
Ouch!
I told her, I keep telling her she needs to go to Apple Silicon, as she whines about. She just recently updated to Sonoma, so she whines about so she mentioned how it overheats on Sonoma, and I'm like, yes, there's a solution for that. It's called buy an Apple Silicon Mac.
Yeah, you don't really have that many thermal problems.
Like, even, I don't know why Snazzy Labs mentioned that his M3 computers have thermal problems, because mine doesn't. Whereas, if you watch an old episode of TIFP back when it was the 2019, I had the 2019 MacBook Pro.
Yeah, we could hear them go off mid. We could hear those fans go off mid podcast.
Yeah, in fact, one of the episode I did with Elias, who was our first guest for Meow Tech YT, that episode is literally titled "The Fans Have Arrived" because not only have fans of this podcast arrived, but also the fans from my MacBook had arrived.
Oh, that's too true. Yep.
I'm just looking at your background. Do you have 3 guitars?
So yeah, I guess I could show that off real quick. Once again, another side tangent. So this right here is my first guitar. Got this when I was 11? Yes, 11. And oh boy, she's dusty. I haven't played her in a while. That's because I need to get
Have you
this
heard of
thing
Johnny
fixed.
Cash by chance?
Oh, yeah.
You know he was 10 when he got his first guitar.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So
Ooh,
you weren't
yeah,
far
I
off.
really need to get that fixed. So, might be hard to get it visualized on camera, but this wooden piece here, this is called the bridge. Yeah, I don't think I'll be able to get it visualized on camera, but it's peeling off.
Ooh.
And that is not something you want your hand near when it eventually breaks free. That will basically break your hand. So, there's a reason why I stopped playing this for a while, and it's because I gotta get it fixed. Then this right here, this is...
You're a rock star?
No, I'm not. I really am not. This is a bass. So that other guitar I had, that's a 6-string, which most guitars are. This is a bass, which has basically an octave lower than the bottom 4 strings of that black guitar and my other one right there, my Alvarez. But yeah, this is my bass that was... Let's just say I permanently borrowed it. It has a very interesting story.
You stole a bass?
I didn't. So the story of this bass is somebody bought it, they lent it to their friend and never asked for it back. Then that friend lent it to my, at the time, guitar teacher and never asked for it back. And then my guitar teacher lent this around to many of his students, but he ended up getting it back. And then eventually it came to me, and I came to wanting to learn how to play this. And he said, I wouldn't mind if you permanently borrowed it.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that's the story of this bass. It has been permanently borrowed by so many people. Well, now I'm the new permanent borrower of the bass, and this is probably going to stick with me forever. It's finally got a home. So, no, I didn't steal it. It was given to me by somebody who didn't technically own it, but again, the actual owner of that never asked for it back. So, I don't know what the story with that was. And then this right here. Oh, this is my favorite. This is my personal favorite right here. It's my Alvarez. It's again, another standard 6-string. I love Alvarez. I love the sound that the acoustics in this makes. And this particular guitar, you might notice...
It's smart.
Not really smart, but it has a built-in tuner, so I can tune this on the go. And then I can plug it in to either an amplifier to get a somewhat electric guitar sound, or I can plug it into my mixer and record audio with this.
So you can, in other words, get direct acoustics for your songs.
Yep. Yep. That is how I record my music. I plug this in and I can get either an electric guitar sound out of it. I can get a standard clean acoustic guitar sound out of it. I love this thing. It's great on stage. It's great in the studio.
Oh, you perform on... Oh, right. Yes, you do perform on stage.
Yep, I do. So, yeah, that's the story with my guitars. I love my Alvarez.
Yeah, I don't have any
love it.
guitars, or quite frankly, any instruments for that matter. Or musical instruments, I should say.
Yep. Yeah, it reminds me of that particular ad we saw last month.
Oh, yeah.
I was not happy to see them crushing those.
I think you can combine all those into an iPad.
Not really. The truth is, especially me being a musician,
Yes.
you one thing that drives me nuts about so many recording
Oh
software
wait,
and
that's
so many
right.
different keyboards, when they try to emulate the sound of a grand piano, they can't do it. They just can't do it. Every time you turn the setting on a keyboard to grand piano, it never sounds even close to a grand piano. And that is the exact same case with GarageBand on the iPad.
That's fair.
It just does not sound like the real thing. Yeah, to my surprise, the only piece of software I've ever heard that actually does sound like a real grand piano is the Steinway Grand in Logic. That's it.
Well, you can get. Well, I mean, you can get Logic Pro on the iPad, but I'm sure it's very stripped down, so it probably
Yeah.
doesn't have that.
That, and also when you record music, as you might have seen in some of my studio tours, which maybe I should do again at some point, I don't know, it is a very cable involved setup.
Oh yes, I've seen your setup.
Yeah, something you learn as a musician is when you're going to record music, you're going to have cables everywhere. And that's because with audio, number one rule when it comes to editing audio, zero latency. And in order to do zero latency, you need physical cables. You cannot do wireless. And so, as a result, that and I have different instruments I need to hook up and plug in, like my Shure SM58 mic, my Yamaha keyboard. I have my other mixer as well for my guitar. And of course, I got my other desktop peripherals so I can interface with everything. So, yeah, it's a very cable involved setup. Something that a USB-C port, a single USB-C port, it just isn't enough for. Even if you use a Thunderbolt dock.
All right. Well, shall we move on to our next topic, which is Apple Intelligence?
I really don't know what to say about it other than, okay, we got improved Siri. Oops.
That's okay.
Yeah. Yeah, other than that, I mean, why was it important? Like, I actually paid zero attention to that part because I completely lost interest in the whole thing.
I mean, I personally think that Apple Intelligence, I mean, it's cool. The features of it are cool, but again, it's just not. But it's not groundbreaking necessarily. Like, I mean, it's good. It's nice that they have it integrated into iOS, but and it's nice how they're kind of not making AI look realistic, but still, like, I don't know, like, it's just a little boring, but I guess we're the guys that hate AI, so
Yeah, I mean, well, apparently we're not the only ones. Have you heard Elon's reaction to Apple Intelligence?
he hates it too.
He's banning it from the workplace, from the companies that he owns.
Like, you mean he's banning Apple products?
Yeah, pretty much.
Elon, please tell me his employees are not going to use Windows.
He's a very reactionary guy. I mean, some of Tesla's employees have to, like in the engineering space, particularly at Tesla and SpaceX, they're gonna have to use Windows.
Yeah, but please tell me that not that people who don't have to are going to have to use Windows.
It's just Elon being very reactionary. I'm used to seeing Elon act like this. Like I've kind of settled down. Remember when we discussed the whole supercharging team firing incident?
Yeah.
It's almost coming back to normal. He's rehired a lot of people back. So as a result, This is just him being reactionary. He gets so reactionary about things, and then he just makes a blatant action because of it. And so, I know he's gonna walk this back, and I can kind of see where he's coming from because my boss actually brought this up to me. When was it? The day after the Apple event. It's where he learned that Elon was not allowing the use of Apple Intelligence in the workplace or AI in general, and I can kind of see why.
Okay.
And it's because of number one issue having to come back to when it comes to looking at AI, the generative functions. It's not real. And in the workplace, when you're writing reports or when you're trying to develop stuff, you're trying to develop real things.
Yeah, and I mean you can't, and imagine asking AI to generate contracts, legally binding contracts.
Look, I get it. That stuff is not fun, but it's important to do it right. And also, here's another thing too. The most important thing that I think especially the bosses are considering, the bosses are paying the employees to work.
Yes.
With Apple Intelligence, who's doing the work? No, think about it. Who is actually doing the work?
The computer.
So why pay for a human?
I can see why they're banning it, generative AI, and just imagine if government agencies start using a generative AI.
Gosh.
Like, just imagine.
Especially I mean, this is election year too. Imagine if they got their hands on this technology.
Oh,
that is an image I really wish I didn't have to think about, but I would not be surprised. Doesn't matter which party, by the way, both can be responsible for this. I would not be surprised if both parties are trying to use this to some extent.
Let's steer. How about we drive away from this topic?
I agree, but yeah, I do not like. This is the number one thing about AI that I don't like. It's generative functions, and it's taking away from. And look, I get it. It's still never going to produce a real image or its own real original image because it can't. It has no soul, unlike us humans. But the problem with being able to generate stuff like this out of thin air is it can be so deceptive to some people, and I am so worried that the human race is going to do the human race and abuse that.
Well, luckily workplaces are stepping in and fighting this off by banning generative AI.
Yeah. It's
the only thing I like about Apple Intelligence is actually how it's named, because Apple Intelligence, I think, is a better name than artificial intelligence, and it's artificial intelligence. It's not really that artificial. It's just the same input and output processes that all computers use.
Yeah, I'm not exactly a fan of the name, but the only reason why I'm okay with it is because really any name is better than artificial intelligence, because in all seriousness, it just does not actually describe what is going on.
Artificial intelligence just makes it sound cooler, and more importantly, artificial intelligence makes it sound a lot scarier than it actually is.
Yeah, if you ask me, we have enough people with artificial intelligence as is. It's supposed to be a joke.
What? Actually, that's a good point.
So, yeah, it's supposed to be a joke, by the way, guys. It felt like that whole entire segment, it was just for pleasing advertisers. Or not.
Yeah, it's literally what it felt like.
No.
More of a stock.
Investors, that's the
press
word.
stock
That's
just...
it. Investors, that's who it's all for. And it drives me nuts.
Because investor...
I should probably make a video on how I think we need to change the way we view investors and their roles in investment in the companies, because with what's been going on, I think we are slowly, especially in the tech industry here, we're slowly moving closer and closer towards a more dangerous place, because the reason why we're moving in that direction is purely for profits. Yeah, pretty much profits. Everyone making money. And because that's all people are focused on, nobody's thinking to stop and ask why. What are we doing? What will this cause? Nobody's thinking about that.
I want to start my own tech company when I grow up, and I know right off the bat then under my ownership, and if I can find some way to put this in my permanent company's contract or something, I'm gonna make a few rules about how our business can be done. Number one, there is to be no investors. Period.
Good luck
I don't
raising
want anybody
money
else
for it.
interfering with my company.
Good luck raising money and capital.
I'll raise money another way. I'm not gonna let investors decide how I make money, or else if I do, no, I'm not gonna let investors decide. I'll just build procs and then just I'll just work a second job or something like that, so I can build procs and then make my money. Number two, I will never, ever, ever let somebody buy my company, because the reason why is I don't want some other company that's likely controlled by Wall Street or something and take over my company, and then basically not only change the company's purpose, but also just make my procs not very good. As you can see what happens with, not necessarily so much in the tech space, but but the fast food industry is especially evident of this, because you know what Yum Brands is?
No.
They're the parent company of Pizza Hut, Taco Bell, and KFC. And do those places have good food?
No.
No, and the Yum Brands used to be I think they still have a partnership, but I don't think they're owned by Pepsi anymore. Yeah.
Yeah, it drives me nuts, especially in the... How many different studios does Disney own, for example?
Let's see. They own, of course, their original studio, Pixar, Fox, and I thought
they had another studio.
Marvel.
Yeah, they own Marvel Studios.
Star Wars. National Geographic, that stuff they own.
Yeah, what else? No, Universal doesn't. Universal's a separate company.
Should I mention that they own two out of four of the major TV networks, being ABC and Fox?
Yeah.
So they technically own ABC Studios.
Yeah, and you can definitely tell that Disney owns all of these studios because all of these studios have too much in common. So, yeah, it's not.
Or T-Mobile.
It's the point is, it's not fun when all these smaller tech companies are owned by one giant corporation. That's my. It's like social media. How everything's owned basically by Meta, except for Twitter and YouTube.
Oh yeah.
Literally any other social. I guess TikTok's technically not owned by Meta as well, but literally any other social media I can think of.
Oh, Snapchat's not owned by Meta because Meta tried to buy Snapchat, but Snapchat declined.
Okay, but they own Facebook.
Times.
Instascam.
Instagram.
Their messenger platform. Threads.
WhatsApp.
Yeah, WhatsApp. That's another one too.
Who uses Threads?
Sadly, I actually know some people who do.
So, I don't know anybody that still uses Threads, but again, I don't ask.
So, yeah, it's basically we have Meta and only a small handful of everyone else.
Oh, what else? Let me think. Oh yeah, just like how let's see who owns all of the possible carriers. You have AT&T, who's independent, because they tried to be a monopoly once and it didn't work.
Still have some.
Verizon isn't.
If I recall, AT&T also owns Cricket Wireless today.
They own Cricket. Yeah. Let's see. You have Verizon, who also owns Visible. Yep. Oh, and let's see. You have T-Mobile, obviously, the main company.
What does
Sprint?
T-Mobile owns Sprint.
Who's owned by T-Mobile?
Mint Mobile.
They're acquiring U.S. Cellular.
Yeah, they just got U.S. Cellular.
Mobile. Metro.
Yep, they've got that too.
It's owned by T-Mobile.
So.
Oh, you got Xfinity, and you got Straight Talk.
Don't remind me of Comcast.
My family uses. I use Comcast internet.
That's gotta suck.
It actually doesn't.
Really? We had Comcast internet at our lake house, except they were so terrible to us we had to switch.
Yeah, Comcast customer services, from what I hear, is so bad.
Well, for one, if you want to cancel their service, you have to get on the phone. You have no choice. There's no link on the website you can go to hit a cancellation button. You can sign up for their services through the website. No need to talk to a human at all. But in order to cancel, you have to get on the phone tree. You have to get through their bots. And then you have to get through all the people saying, well, what if we give you a deal? Or what if we give you a free upgrade to this? Or like, dude, just cancel the service. You suck. Makes me wonder how their employees feel.
Well, we're going to talk about cancellations soon on one of our future topics.
At this point, I forgot we were talking about because I think we butchered Apple Intelligence with reiterating what our issues were. Oh wait, I never finished investments.
Oh yeah.
The issue with investors. Investors are too focused on profits, and they don't actually care about what the money is going towards. They just care about the return and the money coming back.
I don't like investors to. I don't like it to invest. I'm never going to invest my money once I grow up, just for a simple reason that you have a risk of losing it.
The only reason why I would do it is if it's something that I truly support. And if I end up losing out, I think the only reason why I would invest money is because that company wants to produce something that I do actually believe in, and I want to see it come to light. And there are some companies who do treat investors this way, and there are some investors who treat companies where, yeah, they don't care necessarily about the money or the profits coming back. They want to see the product. I know many of companies who have investors like that. It's just those companies are not Apple.
You see why, there's a reason why Apple's getting so political.
Yeah, again, it's mostly investor crap and such.
Speaking of politics and Apple, I guess we should move on to our next topic, which is that 4 more U.S. states are joining the lawsuit against Apple.
Gosh, no. No. Where are... Again, artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes, this is real artificial intelligence. It's not real because they're. This is definitely going to be a hype
Yes.
clip.
Artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Look no further than your government. Oh gosh.
Yes, 4 more U.S. states joining the lawsuit again. Like, this lawsuit against Apple is nonsense. It does not need. Apple's not. I don't like to defend Apple for everything, but this is one lawsuit that I'm going to say that is nonsense. They're suing Apple for things that Apple isn't guilty of.
Yeah, the things that they're suing him for, they're not crimes. They're not crimes. They're just petty complaints. So petty. Why bother?
Yes. And they're also receiving the pressure of the U.S. government was pressured by companies like Spotify, who Spotify.
How are they not being sued for their? How are they not being sued for? Oh, here's another Spotify story we could go into. You heard what's going on with the? I kid you not, the product itself is actually called the car thing.
It's canceled. It's getting discontinued.
Not only that, they're sending a software update to actually brick it.
Wonder if people are gonna find some way to fight it.
I don't know how, but what I do know is that Spotify is actually actively working on a software update to send out to their car things to brick them.
I'm sure the jailbreaking community. I'm sure the hacking community for that will be very hard at work.
Yeah. Still, and then to those who aren't in that community, that's just gotta suck because that thing costs what, $90? It was expensive.
I didn't even know it was a thing.
It was expensive too. So to buy this expensive thing, just to have Spotify say, "Oh yeah, that thing that you bought to support us, nope, there's $90 straight down the toilet." I have never seen scummier behavior.
Yeah, Apple doesn't usually shut down servers for things like that until years.
Because when Apple
later,
discontinues a device, they don't just send a software update that makes it don't work anymore. It's useless. You can't use it anymore. It just throw it away. No, the phone still works, albeit the web services like the App Store, like you brought up today on Twitter, the App Store may stop working on that because, well, the App Store has to continue to be updated, and when you discontinue a phone, that means you're not going to send those updates to that phone anymore. So, yeah, the App Store is probably going to stop working.
You want to know a funny thing about the App Store completely not loading on iOS 11, which was, by the way, in the group chat. I tested it, and it works on iOS 10.
Okay, that's weird.
And not 11.
That is weird.
And I think I've gotten it to load on... And I think it still loads on iOS 7, too, if I'm not mistaken. But it just won't load on 11.
That is weird. I don't know why.
And I believe it'll still load on iOS 8, too, which is interesting.
Unless... This is iOS 11 we're talking about.
My only theory of why Apple shut down the App Store for iOS 11 is because no iPhone, no iOS devices got left on 11. And unlike iOS 8, which also didn't have any devices left on it, iOS 8 is still signed for OTA updates for some devices. iOS 11 is not signed for any devices, no matter what.
Yeah, still. But for the most part, despite that the App Store might not work, you can still use the phone to call people, right? Until the 4G towers decide to...
I don't have that phone hooked up, so
Yeah.
I can't. Actually, let me grab that phone with...
I would assume cellular would still
Charge it.
work.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's a 7. I still know people who use a 7.
By the way, this is my. I know somebody who uses a 7 Plus. I think. Oh, by the way, this is. I got an iPhone 7 on iOS 11.
Yep.
It's a 256 gigabyte too, which is awesome. And its only problem is that it overheats a lot and its battery life is terrible. It has a few
Gee, I
dents.
wonder why.
Cause I accidentally dropped
No,
it.
the overheating and battery life issues.
It's probably just an old. It could just be just because it's an old phone.
Yeah. Yeah, in case you guys didn't get it just yet, I had such a horrible experience with iOS 11. It really ruined my experience with Apple for a bit.
I actually have that mentioned on my script. Of why I don't like iOS 11 issues.
Yeah, it completely ruined my iPod Touch. It made it so unusable.
Did
I
iOS
had to get a
12
new
fix
device
it?
that didn't run iOS 11.
Did iOS 12 fix the iPod?
Yes, it did. Yeah, the number one infuriating issue that I had with iOS 11 was Ghost Touch. I don't know if that's what it's actually called, but it's basically there's a magic finger on it that will either scroll down a page or randomly scroll up a page, and I'm not touching the device at all. It will just randomly start scrolling down, scrolling up. Sometimes it will randomly take me to the home screen, swipe left or swipe right. It would ghost touch all the time. It made it nearly impossible for me to use.
Now that I'm actually using 3D Touch again on my iPhone 7, I can definitely say that it's a lot easier to use 3D Touch than haptic touch.
That's why I wish Apple never got rid of it.
I just had to check to make sure the cameras worked on this phone because I hadn't actually tested that yet.
Yep. So, yeah, iOS 11 sucked for me so bad. It completely ruined my device. Thank God I was able to get it on 12.
I mentioned this in my iOS. I mentioned this too in my iOS 11 video, which will be probably out by the time this episode releases. But back when I was using iOS 11 on, actually I have both of the iPads still. Just gotta move around some things. Back when I was using it on my iPad Air 2 and my Mini 1, or Air 1 and Mini 2, I remember when I was typing documents and pages, and I think on my iPad Air 1, it just completely it would just completely freeze sometimes.
Yep, I'd have that happen too.
That was the only bug I had in iOS 11 that I still remember.
Yeah, it was.
But I remember hating how it removed support for 32-bit apps.
I thought that was later.
Because I had a lot of old games.
I thought that was later.
That was in macOS Catalina did that, but no, it was iOS 11 that removed support for 32-bit apps. So as a result, a lot of the old apps I like to use, I couldn't anymore.
Oh well.
That's one of the reasons why I liked using my iPad 3 so much when I first, still for several years.
Mm-hmm. Anywho, what were we talking about?
Well, we were talking about how U.S. states were joining the lawsuit against Apple, but I guess we've ran that topic into the ground, so I need to have some water, and then we can go on to how there are third-party cameras that can capture spatial video.
Is anybody going to be surprised when I say this? I don't care.
Neither do I. Well, let's talk about shall we move on to our next topic?
Yeah, really, there's nothing to say about spatial video cameras. Because, again, who watches 3D video, who looks at 3D photos? It's not. I mean, I should reserve judgment because I have yet to try the Vision Pro. I finally have a scheduled time set. So. And I'm going to be traveling way more than 6 hours to an Apple store, by the way.
Oh, yeah, I know. You mentioned it in the group chat.
Yeah. I've been mentioning this for too long. It's finally going to be happening. But other than that, I mean, considering that I can't really see 3D anyways, it's nothing exciting for me. And at least from the people I've talked to when it comes to people who do have the ability to see 3D, they don't care for 3D movies. They don't care for 3D photos. The only people who do are the super hardcore tech enthusiasts.
Yep. Shall we move on to our next topic, which I really wish Tabby was here for?
What's that?
His favorite company, HP, which is not, by the way, is buying somebody.
Oh dear.
Do you want to take a guess at who HP is buying?
I don't have the slightest, though. Because HP has been so much...
Just take any random...
HP has been out of my life for so long. Because the only HP product we've had in the house was our old HP printer. Until finally my mom decided, nope, we're done paying way too much for ink. And so we got our brother printer, which is a laser printer, actually.
Oh, while we go on a side tangent about inkjet printers, did you watch Atomic Shrimp by chance?
No.
So in his very first video, which he made back in 2008, he mentioned how his printer kind of came up with an error on why, on the fact that it was just having some sort of issue. But when he took it apart, he found so many ink reserves where extra ink that the printer was just wasting to trick people into buying more ink.
Oh gosh.
Yes.
Oh my.
And I mean, this is '08, mind you, so it's the year I was born, but
that's when...
Imagine...
That's when we got our printer, though.
Imagine a lot of printers still do that.
That's why she was paying too much for ink! No wonder we had to replace that cartridge so frequent, despite how we hardly use that thing!
Because it was using a lot of it. Yes, guys.
Thank God we don't have that printer anymore! Oh.
Sometime I should... Maybe sometime... I know it would be a stupid video, but sometime I should just buy a bunch of broken old printers and inkjet ink printers and just take them apart to see how much ink is left in it.
Gosh. HP's printer business is so infuriating. It really is.
I don't know if it was let me look and see if it was an HP printer that Atomic Shrimp took
I would
apart.
not be surprised, though. Because, literally, when you think of bad printer experience, literally the default company that comes to mind is HP. And it doesn't matter who you ask. Everybody hates HP printers. They're trash. Maybe that's the space that Apple should actually enter.
They used to make printers, you know.
Why did they stop?
It was an
It
was an inkjet.
Probably the same thing.
It was an inkjet.
Yeah. They probably stopped making printers for the same reason they stopped making the Wi-Fi router. Because they made too much sense.
Yeah.
So infuriating.
Yeah, it was probably an HP, but yeah, that's. I mean,
All right. Anywho.
all right, but getting
Yeah.
back on.
What's the HP story
You
here?
take any guess at who HP is buying without looking at my podcast notes.
I don't even know if you updated them.
Just take any guess. Any tech company come to mind? Maybe a bad
no.
one, perhaps?
Oh no, they're not that dumb, are they? Are they buying Humane?
Yes!
Oh my gosh! They're actually that dumb!
Yes! Yes! There's a reason why HP stands for horrible product, as Cole Pinto from the Phone Bid Diver says.
Those idiots!
It literally, the Humane AI pin is literally going to be the horrible product. It's literally going to be the horrible pin.
Oh my gosh! They already make bad computers. Their customer support. And then their printer business. Everybody knows the whole printer business.
Are you
No,
crying?
I'm just losing it. Oh my gosh.
That's the last thing that HP needs to do.
That is. Goodness gracious, I can't believe they're actually that stupid.
HP's computers are unreliable even for Windows computers standards.
Yeah, look, I hate Dell's bloatware, okay? Dell's bloatware is bad. But the only time I've ever actually had to do a hardware thing, I had an actual hardware issue with my computer, wasn't even the computer itself. It was actually an old dock. It's a Thunderbolt dock. Where every time I'd power up my laptop connected to my Thunderbolt dock at my desk, it would, for whatever reason, disable the GPU. I don't know why it was doing that, but that is the only hardware issue I've ever had with my XPS. There was a software update that came out where when I would start the computer up, plugged into the dock, the dedicated graphics would just not turn on, and as a result, SolidWorks would run so slow you're basically waiting 2 minutes for just to highlight a feature. It's that bad. And so, funny enough, it was when I tweeted out on the internet my frustrations, finally, Dell caught wind of it, and they sent a software update to the Thunderbolt dock itself, and that fixed my issue.
Phew.
So, yeah,
but
I hate Dell's bloatware. It really is bad, but it is ever rare I actually have hardware issues with my XPS. I've only had one so far, and unfortunately, the only one in my family that I know who has had a slightly bad experience with Dell, albeit it's only one specific product, it's my mom and her 17-inch Inspiron from 2017? Was it 2017 or 2016? I don't know. Doesn't make a difference what year it came out. Point is, she had a failed battery in that, and she's about to have another failed battery again, and I don't know what happened, but somehow she dropped it, I think, and the display is cracked on the edge, and throughout the majority of the display, it's dim, but past the edge where it's cracked, it's bright. It's really hard to explain. I'd have to show a picture, but I can't do that because then I'm showing somebody else's laptop, which is probably not an okay thing to do, so I'm not going to do that. But yeah, she badly needs a new laptop. The battery's about to fail on that, and the display is acting all wonky and such. And
I'm guessing she's not buying a MacBook.
I believe me, I'm trying, but I just can't convince her.
Oh, but I guess we shall get. I get.
That
Did I ever tell? You want to know what happened to one of my dad's HP computer? To my dad's blue HP laptop that I got back in for Christmas in 2017.
I don't even know about the laptop's existence, so I really don't know anything about it.
So, yeah, I've never mentioned it, but he had a previous HP. It lasted him for 3 years. So so you figure, oh well, this laptop should last quite a while. It wasn't even by the summer of 2019. It became my laptop because the laptop would the battery in it stopped holding a proper charge. Yeah. Like you could only use that thing plugged in. And I actually used to use that quite a lot in 2020, but I have no idea where that went now. But yeah, that is how bad that battery was.
Yeah.
Just a classic HP and battery.
Yeah, my cousin had an Asus laptop that's only 3 years old, so it's not even that old. And 2 years after ownership, the charge port failed.
Oh, let me see. Or a YouTuber I watched, the Electrical Outlet, he mentioned how I believe by last year his Asus gaming laptop from 2020, he explained how 3 years later the battery and keyboard had already basically failed.
I mean, I'm not surprised that these batteries might fail prematurely, especially in Windows laptops, but I have a feeling it may have something to do with thermal design.
Yeah, because, I mean, my 2010 MacBook Pro's battery lasted for 11 years. And I think my 2009 MacBook Pro's original battery is still going. And quite frankly, one of my black MacBook's batteries is still going strong, or somewhat strong, all these years later.
Yeah, I suppose that's not really an issue we have to worry about with our super efficient Apple Silicon MacBooks today. Because they don't get that hot, it's not heating up the batteries that much.
Well, this battery, I believe, still holds a charge. But I wonder if it's possible that the computers that we're using right now, their batteries will still work in 20 years. Because there are some 20-year-old Apple laptops, iBook and PowerBook batteries that still hold charges today that are still original.
Well, it doesn't help that I have my MacBook plugged into a Thunderbolt dock half the time, and therefore it always keeps it at 100%, which is, I know it's not that great for it, but sometimes I don't get a choice. Like, I'm surprised that the iPhone has a charge limiter. Why does the MacBook not? Because, I mean, I know the MacBook technically does have a charge limiter. It's just you can't manually turn it on.
My iPhone 14 Pro has 98% battery health still.
I don't even know. I don't even want to know what my XS Max is at. Oh, gosh. I'll check and see, just for the sake of it.
I'll check my Apple Watch while I'm at it, because Series 7's battery life I know battery health has a tendency to decrease quickly.
80%.
Oh!
I am at 80%.
Oh, my Series...
And honestly, I think it's actually
That's
being
not bad.
generous. I think it's being generous.
My Apple Watch Series 7 is... I'm honestly starting to debate whether I'll have to get a new watch this fall, which would consequently mean I have to get a new phone, because I don't know how you guys can see that, but
I can't at all.
Or let me actually I'll take my watch off. Enter my passcode. 91.
I'm at 88. I'm at
Huh?
88%. On the
Tabby was right about the Apple Watch Series 7's battery health going down quickly.
Still doesn't bother me. It gets me through the day just fine.
Yeah, mine gets me through somewhat, but still. But part of me still wants to go to an Ultra this fall just because I like having the 3-day battery life.
I want the battery life from the Ultra. I just don't want the Ultra form. It's just not for me.
Speaking of $800 procs, shall we move on to our next topic?
Sure.
So, have you heard of the Light Phone?
Yes.
So, you know there's a Light Phone 3 coming out with a camera and OLED display.
I don't know that much about it, but okay.
You want to guess it still has bezels, mind you, but do you want to guess how much it costs?
Probably more than it should.
$800.
Okay. It's supposed to be a budget phone, right? Because $800 doesn't sound very budget.
It's the same price as a brand new iPhone 15, but yeah, it doesn't look very much like a. It looks like it should be a lot cheaper.
Yeah, that makes. I mean, if they're gonna charge that much, they better give a good reason. Because.
They don't seem to, though.
I mean, you guys know I've hated the Pixel series for so long. They were building phones that were not worth their asking price. And people thought Apple was bad at overpricing smartphones. Nope.
They're truly not,
Yeah,
though.
really, they aren't. Google was actually way worse at it.
The only thing Apple's bad at pricing is stands.
Yeah, they're bad at pricing stands. They're bad at
wheels.
pricing VR headsets. They're bad at pricing cases.
$3,500 is fair for what it is.
They're bad at pricing cases.
I think they're good at pricing cases.
No, with the quality of those cases and how long they last, no, they are not worth their asking.
I mean,
price.
fine woven cases, yes, those are overrated. Those are overpriced. Not the other ones, though. Or actually, yeah, not the other ones.
So. Yeah, and then I recently bought a $25 2-meter cable from them.
Their cables and chargers are pretty cheap most of the time.
I don't know if it was Walmart doing price gouging or anything, but I mean, $25 for a 2-meter cable. I paid way cheaper than that for others.
Let me check how much a 2-meter. What type of cable was it?
It was the official USB-A to Lightning cable, 2 meters long, and I paid about $25 for it.
Yeah, Walmart was doing price gouging. A 2-meter one on Apple's website actually costs $30.
Really?
You actually got a discount.
Okay. Still, that's expensive for a cable.
I don't think it's that bad, but again, I rarely buy cables, so
Yeah, I don't.
if it's good quality, so I think it's fair to pay.
Yeah. I don't know how people keep destroying their phone cables. I genuinely don't know how they do it.
Neither do I, because I don't abuse cables.
I mean, my cables will get dirty. That just happens. It's a fact of life. Cables are going to get dirty. But I don't know how I've seen people manage to destroy and mangle and do every abusive thing imaginable to these cables, because I've never had any of those issues with any of my Apple cables. Be it on Apple earbuds of any kind, charging cables, you name it. I've never had any of those types of issues with Apple cables.
I've had an issue. I've seen that issue on one of my mom's old pairs of earpods. That was because my cats chewed it.
Well, that makes sense. Of course, it's basically tearing into the rubber. That's basically going to happen to any cable.
And what? And otherwise, I've never really seen any Apple.
Yeah,
And I mean, I've seen my official Apple USB-C, USB-C cable. I've seen some of them get tears.
Oh,
but
I have to show you something. Because I haven't sold the Pixel yet. I thought I threw it out, but apparently I didn't. It's still in the box.
Oh no! No!
I'll take that booklet out so it doesn't fall out.
No!
I'm not even going to touch it. Look at it.
Throw that out!
That is... Okay, I get it. It's a nice gesture to include a cable in the box. But if this is the cable you're going to include in the box, you might as well just throw it out.
Is that like the first ever USB-A cable from 2014?
This is the included cable that originally shipped with the Pixel. It's disgusting.
Yeah.
I don't even want to touch it. So, yeah, if you guys are going to include a cable in the box, make sure it's not like that. I think your customer would appreciate
The
that.
only time I've received torn up Apple cables before, but they've been for devices I bought used.
So, yeah, that is nasty. Anywho, what were we talking about?
We were talking about the iPhone 3, but I think we pretty much ran that topic to the ground.
It's overpriced.
So I think we should move back to one of our topics that we were talking about earlier, being cancellations.
What's being canceled?
And the DOJ. So, do you like Adobe's business model for their services?
Their business model, no. I don't like how you're forced to pay a subscription for their actually usable software. Because they do provide some software that doesn't require it, but it's not particularly usable by any stretch of the imagination. Like Adobe Premiere Rush, I believe, that does not require a fee of any sorts to use. But it's still not that great of a video editor.
Well, the DOJ is suing suing Adobe for trapping users in subscriptions with high cancellation fees.
Ooh. Okay.
This is what the DOJ should spend their time on, not making fun of Apple for doing nothing wrong, rather suing for Adobe for technically fraud in this case, because if you have to pay to cancel a service, then doesn't that sound like fraud?
Doesn't sound like fraud to me. It sounds like extortion. Because there's no false advertising going on. It's just they're adding an obstacle to try to get you not to leave them. And as a result, if you're going to leave them, then they're going to take as much from you as possible when that happens. So I view it more as extortion, not fraud.
he probably shouldn't use that word, by the way, because it relates to something else, that because it sounds like another word that could possibly get us banned.
I don't even know what you're getting at, but okay.
I'll text it to you.
Come on. Touch ID, you're so freaking useless. Why do you exist?
It's not useless for me, but I texted it.
I hate the internet. Why do they do stuff like this? Oh my goodness.
That's because of an online scam that
I don't think it needs to be censored. I mean, the word that you've typed in the chat, yeah, that does, but the word that I said, no, that does not.
all right, I guess I guess Adobe is technically not being ethical.
The only reason why I think it makes sense to have a cancellation fee is if it involves somebody needing to come to your place and remove something. Like say,
Like for example,
yeah, like say you're canceling your internet provider's service. Well, they still have to come out and take some of their stuff back. It's not like you bought their modem or something. No, they have to provide it to you so that way they can give you access to their stuff. So there's some things that is proprietary on their end that they need to come and get from your house, and that's going to cost money. So okay, I get it. There's some instances where a cancellation fee makes sense. The Adobe situation is not necessary for one. It's just not necessary.
Yeah, it's not.
So, yeah, in this case, yeah, it does not need a cancellation fee, especially if they're really price gouging that high. So.
All right, and speaking of the DOJ, I guess we should discuss the topic that the DOJ is starting antitrust investigations for Microsoft, OpenAI, and NVIDIA.
What took them so long? Google's not on the list?
I mean,
Google's not on the list?
they've already got Google.
Oh. Oh well. Yeah, so what?
Yeah, but they're storing it. I guess they figured that especially because OpenAI is partnering with Apple and Microsoft, like OpenAI might become a monopoly. So maybe I don't think it's that fair, but okay. NVIDIA again becoming a little more dominant in the AI chip space, and maybe okay. Even though there's still a competition in Microsoft.
Yeah.
I don't think they should start an antitrust investigation for Microsoft. I think they should start a fraud investigation for Microsoft.
Yeah. that would make more sense. And for OpenAI, they need to be regulated because some of the stuff that they're putting out, it involves too much trust in humanity, and I'm sorry, I do not have trust in humanity today to actually be responsible enough to respect the powerful tools that they're creating. And so,
yeah,
in OpenAI's case, I don't exactly think they need an antitrust suit, though it does kind of make sense why they would get one, because I don't know about you, it sounds like they're kind of dominating in the space, because literally every AI service I can think of is, for the most part, based off of them. And there's very few exceptions to it. So there's some reason to sue them for antitrust, but in my opinion, the only reason why they should be involved with the government as all is to actually get regulated and get this technology regulated, because I hate how it seems like I'm the only human being in the universe who can see the many ways this technology is going to be exploited and how it's going to hurt people.
Well, I mean, you're not the only one because Elon Musk literally banned a generative
I
AI.
think he did it mostly for business reasons, though, and not the reasons that I'm against it altogether. That's just me.
But still, at least that's progress.
So, but yeah, at this point, with where it's going, and again, just so you guys know, I'm not worried about. Well, I am a little worried about future ways this will be abused, but I'm also a bit concerned about that because it is currently being abused today. I've already gone on a few stories that I should not have to go on again because it involves some more censoring. But yeah, AI is still being used today. It's being abused today. I don't know how else to word it. So, yeah, OpenAI definitely needs to be regulated. They need to be regulated for the safety of.
Like I've seen so many of my classmates use ChatGPT. I've seen several of my classmates use ChatGPT already.
I'm surprised that the school servers haven't blocked them out.
Oh, it's not. It's not on the school devices. It's on their phones.
No. Well, even then, the Wi-Fi network should block it out.
They can just use cellular data.
Oh, yeah, that's. I guess you're right. So, yeah, that's. They need to be regulated. I'm usually against regulating companies, and for good reason, but for good reason this time around, I think OpenAI needs some regulation because this is going to get dangerous real fast. Especially because, again, this is a powerful tool.
All right, I guess we.
Okay, I'm rambling at this point. Move on.
Let's go back to Microsoft.
How'd they screw up this time?
They actually didn't fully screw up. So remember Windows Recall?
I might recall that.
I was gonna basically capture how it was gonna capture all your day. How it was gonna capture all your activity on your computer.
Well, what did they say about it this time?
Microsoft Recall is now not only an opt-in feature instead of an automatic feature where you now have to choose to turn it on, but Recall has also been delayed.
I wonder if it's being delayed due to legal issues.
That might help, but that might be it.
That's probably the reason why they're delayed because, I mean, we've got Time Machine on the Mac, but it doesn't do anything like what Microsoft is going to do. Because unlike Time Machine, Microsoft's recall function, it's going to Microsoft servers. While with Time Machine, I have my airport time capsule here. I could set up Time Machine to back it up to that capsule and not send it to an iCloud server. So Apple still can't get their hands on it.
Maybe the U.S. government will finally spend time on lawsuits that actually matter.
Be nice.
Instead of, suing Apple for things they're not things that they're already doing, like allowing game emulators or cloud gaming.
Yeah, suing Apple for being too successful, basically.
Yeah, it was like, well, we don't want you to be successful anymore, so we're going to take you down.
Again, artificial intelligence, ladies and gentlemen. Artificial intelligence at its finest.
All right, shall we move on to our next topic, which is that you heard of Be Real?
I've heard of them before. Are they finally shutting down?
Unfortunately, no.
They're still active? How?
Yeah, they're not owned by Meta, but Be Real is now being acquired by a game and app company called Voodoo.
I've heard of them, but I don't understand why you'd want Be Real of all social media apps.
Yeah, Be Real is so stupid. Because content on Be Real is like you have to post at a specific time, and the fundamental problem with Be Real is that not everybody can post to social media 24/7.
Yeah, like for example, what am I supposed to post when I'm at work? I can't post what I'm doing at work for very obvious reasons.
In case you didn't know, it's legal issues.
Yeah. So, not entirely sure how that's.
Or let's say I'm driving. Oh, wait, I can't post to social media when I'm driving. I can't hold my phone when I'm driving in my state. And I also
even if you could, you shouldn't.
Don't. Yeah. And
yeah. How do you think I capture video B-roll? How do you think I captured my driving footage? It's not me holding my camera anymore. I mount it to a tripod. I do that for a reason. So.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
Or let's
still Be Real of all social media apps. I don't understand how they're still in business. I don't understand the appeal for it. And as a result, I just don't care.
Oh, wait a second. What if you want to be wait a second. What if I'm at school? Then I can't take photos and videos at school. Or else at least I can to people without permission.
Yeah, so I think we ran that into the ground.
Alright, now we shall talk about some of my new devices I haven't already mentioned.
So you brought up 2 of your iPhone 7s.
Or I didn't bring up my iPhone 7 running iOS 10.
I thought you showed that on camera. Oh no, it was just the iOS 11
That was the 11 one I showed on camera.
It was just the iOS 11 one.
But yes, I'll actually grab some of the iOS devices out that I...
So yeah, you got the 2 7s.
Yeah,
you got a 7 Plus, right?
Yes, I did. This is the other 7, the 7 that actually released. Well, I don't know, iOS 10 7.
Something was wrong with the 7 Plus though, right?
Yep, something very tragic happened to that phone.
I don't remember what it was though. I just remember something was wrong with it.
Yep, I'll get into that. Okay, phew, it's booting. Alright, that's actually all the iOS devices I have left to show. Alright, so the first device I have right here is this iPod Touch first generation. So I finally have a good one that I downgraded to iOS 1.1.
Wow.
And as you can tell, it's an 8 GB running iOS 1.1. And it's truly a fun device to have. And it's not in bad condition either.
No, that's not bad.
Or bad for iPod standards, I should say.
Yeah, for iPod standards, that's actually not bad.
Alright, and then I have another rose gold iPhone, the 7, that is warning me about my iCloud storage. Guess no, and has a cool live wallpaper.
Oh, I missed those. Why did Apple get rid of those?
Interestingly, it doesn't come with the 7 live wallpapers, only the 6S ones.
That is odd.
But it's 32 GB running iOS 10.3.3. And yeah, I'll go into the wallpaper protection to show you that under live section, it doesn't come with, has the 6S ones, but not the 7 ones.
Yeah, that is weird.
And if I go to the stills, as you can tell. Okay, I found some of the 7 wallpapers like this.
Yeah, if I recall, that was the phone with the blob wallpapers.
Yeah.
It's just a blob.
And the dynamic is just basic dynamics.
Yeah, I don't know why, but I can't find the 10S wallpapers anymore on my phone.
That's because Apple gets rid of them after so many updates, so you have to literally search for them online.
That's a shame.
I hate that too, because on the iPhone 8 and 8 Plus, I hate how they got rid of the default wallpapers for that on iOS 13. And the 10 too, that drives me nuts because the 10 had some really good ones.
Oh, the 10s. I loved the 10s wallpaper so much.
That's partially why I like to get iPhones on older versions, just so I can hopefully get their old original wallpapers.
Yeah, I mean, we can get screenshots or we can find them elsewhere online, but you can't get the live wallpaper functionality out of it.
Yeah, and this right here is my 7 Plus, which also has a live wallpaper. But unfortunately, this phone, it was supposed to come on iOS 11.4.1, I believe. Well, if you look at the music icon and the Apple TV icons and the news icons,
that's a bit too new.
It's not. It's 15. It's 15.
Yeah.
Now I didn't technically pay more. Well, I haven't even signed into this iPhone. That's how much I hate this.
I wondered if it happened when they reset it.
No, I think they intend to, but yep, it's running 15.8.2, which isn't as bad on the 7 Plus as it is on the 6S.
That's at least good to hear.
But it's still a little hot.
At least be grateful it's not 16.
The 7 Plus never got 16.
I thought they discontinued the 7s and the 10s in one go.
No, it was a 6S SE in 1.7, and 7 that they discontinued in one go.
Oh yeah, right.
On 15, it was the 8 and 10 that they got rid of on 16.
Okay, that's what happened. All right. So hard to keep track of all these.
But yeah, I unfortunately didn't look. So my iOS. I was supposed to do my iOS 11 really that bad video. I was supposed to do that last Friday. But I had to delay that literally a week because I had to order another iPhone running iOS 11, which I'm glad I found an iPhone 7 on iOS 11.
Yep.
I'm glad I did.
Yeah, speaking of old Apple devices, my sister recently found her iPod Touch. The one with the battery that she basically...
7th generation?
No, 6th.
She had a 6th and 7th?
No, she has only had a 6th. There has never been an iPod Touch 7th generation in this house.
I assumed that was a 7th that she had.
No, it was a 6th. She got it right at the end of the 6th generation.
Aw.
It was not a 7th.
I got my 5th generation right at the end.
Meanwhile, mine still has the expanding battery in the box right there.
Has it gotten worse?
I don't know. I haven't opened it up in a while. Considering that it hasn't exploded yet, I think it's fine.
Actually, I should check my iPod Touch 6th generation because I know it's a common issue on those phones.
Phones.
That they swallow off.
Yeah, I really don't want to dig into my box tower right now to find it, so... Not doing that.
I'll dig into my tower of iPhones and iPods to find my iPod Touch 6 since it's relatively easy. Phew, it's not. This isn't swelling yet. I should probably charge it so that way it doesn't eventually swell.
You know, maybe I should take the device to Apple and see what they do with it. They probably just recycle it.
Let me see if Apple will still fix it.
I doubt it.
I believe they'll still fix the 5C though.
Really?
I believe so. It's going to be a whole lot more than the phone's worth, but they will do it.
Of course,
I
yeah, they're always
believe.
going to do that. But the thing is, though, I care more about the battery replacement in this than I do my iPod Touch. So. Yeah, I'm not gonna do that.
Yes, you can get the 6th generation battery replaced, and it'll be $79.
So $10 less than this. Might have to do it at another time.
You could just mail that in since it's not that necessary.
Yeah, I suppose. Because.
Oh, wait a second.
Oh wait, could I mail it though?
Yeah. Oh my gosh, dude. Okay, so it counts iPhone 5 as a model, but not the. Okay, you cannot. Okay, Apple just recently stopped supporting the 5C and 5 for repair. You can now only send in a 5S or later.
Who still uses a 5S today?
You used to be able to get an iPhone 4 fixed back in 2022, so, you know.
I legit don't know anybody with a 5S anymore.
No,
Yeah.
Well, you can't use an iPhone 5S anymore as a cell phone in the US anymore.
Oh, is that 3G?
It's partially 4G, but still not fully. So as a result, you can only use an iPhone 6 or later as an actual cell phone.
Well, that explains why I don't see any 5Ss out and about anymore.
All right, and I guess we shall move on to our. Oh, wait a second. There's more phones that I got that I forgot to show you.
Gosh.
I almost forgot about 2 of them. Well, I should check to make sure it hasn't deactivated, if you know what I mean. And then I've got a Mac to show you. Because I bought too many Apple products. Or not too many, but you know what I mean. Alright, so this right here is a very special iPhone 6S, and I repeat, very special because...
Is it on its original OS?
I don't know if you know the... Yes, it is, and I don't know if you know about how iPhone 6S's fail to activate on iOS 9, but they often do. I actually deleted setup the app on this phone, so that way, unless I restore it, it can't deactivate itself. But as you can tell by the slide to unlock and the live wallpaper, which I set a black one on this phone because it matches. This is iOS 9.
Nice.
No, I don't want. This is unfortunately a 16 gigabyte phone.
Oh right.
But it's on 9.3.
I forget that they've still
really
once upon a time made 16 gigabyte phones and 8 gigabytes. I wouldn't be surprised if they made a 4 gigabyte phone at one point.
Oh, the first iPhone. Hold up.
It actually was 4 gigs, wasn't it?
The first iPhone, its base storage, it was discontinued later in 2007, but yes, there was a 4 gigabyte original iPhone.
Gosh. We have come a long way from that.
The only good part about a 4 gigabyte iPhone 2G is that it's guaranteed to be downgradable to firmware 1.0.
Yep.
But I also got an iPhone 5C that runs a very special iOS version, being 7, which isn't that special to me since I have.
Isn't 7 the operating system that shipped with?
Yeah, I have a 5S running 7, so it's not that new of an experience, but I don't know if you can tell, but that's from another country too.
Huh.
My carrier.
I can't see the carrier.
I believe this is from.
What's the carrier? Huh. It's in a different language. I don't recognize it.
I believe this is a Japanese. I believe this is a Japanese iPhone.
Huh. Interesting.
And unfortunately, I couldn't find any differences on about this compared to an American iPhone, since I watched a YouTube video where the guy said that that Japanese iPhones still kept the shutter sound on iOS 7 and 8 when American phones didn't, but I checked and American iPhones did that to kept the shutter sound on iOS 7.
I want to say, when did Apple... I don't ever recall Apple getting rid of the shutter sound.
It's good. It's been gone for years now.
Oh, the camera shutter?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that I... Why did they get rid of that?
I believe iOS 8 or 9 is when they got rid of it.
No, not when. Why?
I don't know. They got rid of the turn the sleep sound too for a little bit.
Not sure.
Let's go ahead and put all these phones up, and let's go. And my iPhone 4.7-inch iPhone pile is turning into quite a pile. That's getting hard to keep straight. But now, excluding the Plus iPhones, the only iPhone I have left between the original phone and 6S on its original firmware is the 6 on iOS 8. Because my first 6 Plus on iOS 8, that was passcode locked, so I had to restore that, and then the second 6 I ordered on iOS 8, that didn't come. And I got a refund. It was damaged, but this right here is my 2015 MacBook Pro, which I had to clean up the display on.
Ah, you finally got one of those.
Yes, I did. Let me enter my password for this.
I suppose you've never had a Retina MacBook Pro.
No, I never have. That's why I wanted this, because it cost me $140, and I just assumed, well, I suppose it's an okay price for a 2012. Okay. But then I looked it up and I found out this is a 2015.
Wow, that's not a terrible price at all.
No.
Then again, what would you use it for? Or how would you use it? Because that's been discontinued.
Oh, I don't... It's just for my collection. I don't have any actual
Well, I'm thinking
use
about
cases
anyone
for
else who would buy
this.
it. That's not a collector.
Oh, no, there's no use for
Yeah.
this.
Oh, actually, I have an update on my old 2011 MacBook Pro.
What happened?
It finally died.
What part of it died?
I'm not entirely sure. From what my sister's telling me, it's not charging. But to my knowledge, it's always had a hard drive issue. So it could have either been the hard drive or the battery, maybe both. I don't know, but it's basically dead at this
Probably
point.
both.
Yeah.
But this is running macOS Monterey and is 8 GB. I suppose you should realistically get the battery replaced, or else just get a new a solid state drive for that thing, as I suggested to you 3 years ago.
Probably going to sell it for parts at this point, because even when she had it, she couldn't use it for much. And I think she's saving up for a new computer. And do you want to know what that new computer is?
A Mac?
No. An iPad.
Oh. Oh, yes!
I think for her, and we've gone over this before many times, there are some people out there who actually can use the iPad as their primary computer. Those people who can,
I used to be able
yeah.
to.
And those people who can today, especially those who want to use it for professional stuff, artists, people who use the Apple Pencil.
Your sister is an artist?
My sister is an artist, yes. And so she's thinking, because now she doesn't have a laptop anymore, she's thinking of getting the iPad Air 6th generation so she can also use the Apple Pencil Pro.
Alright. How come the Apple Pencil Pro? Like, why not just the Apple Pencil with USB-C?
Again, she's an artist. And the number one she cares about when drawing on a tablet, she wants it as close to pencil and paper as possible. And Apple Pencil Pro, the barrel roll functionality of that thing, that helps her achieve getting it close to as if she's drawing on pencil and paper, not a tablet. So, yeah, that's why she's thinking iPad Air 6th generation, the new one, and then getting the Apple Pencil Pro with it.
Good for her. I'll still stick with my iPad Air 5 for now, since I like it.
I mean, I decided to go back on selling my iPad Air 5 because, well, for one, it's not because of the price I set. I paid attention to everyone else's listings, and even the listings that were cheaper than mine, nobody has managed to sell one. None of those listings have sold. So,
probably because it's I can understand why, since the iPad 10 is such a better deal.
yeah, it is. That and I don't know. Why would you buy an iPad at this point? Aside from just general media consumption. Even then, our phones are getting even better and better at that.
And, well, I still personally like to carry small phones, but so that's why I don't like to use my phones for media consumption.
Well, even the small phones are getting bigger, so...
Yeah. But my iPad... I'm actually so glad that I spent more money on an iPad than just getting the budget iPad, since this iPad is so good that for the first time ever after hitting the 2-year mark on my iPad, I'm not thinking about getting a replacement anytime soon.
Wow. I mean, when iPad OS is the way it is, that and supposedly you'll be getting those iPad OS advantages with your school-issued iPads.
Yeah, and the only iPad OS advantage that I have is that I need is Calculator app, which again, oh wait, the school iPads have
and
that.
oh wait, Math Notes is also built into macOS too. In fact, fun fact, it's actually also built into iOS, as some beta testers have found out. So, yeah. I don't think that those get the graphing functionality, though. I think the graphing functionality is iPad exclusive.
I figure.
But still, why do you need a new expensive iPad today?
I don't.
I don't think anybody does.
Well, I mean, my school needs new expensive iPads since the 9th generation. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's. I think it's time to upgrade to at least the budget, the 10th gen.
Even though I just got theirs last year, but yeah, I think we pretty much ran that topic into the ground. So we now need to talk about DJI.
Thought about buying one of their drones once, but what's happened with them this time?
DJI is possibly getting banned in the U.S.
Really?
Yes, and the reason why is because DJI is headquartered in China, and so, you know.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. So I guess we need to find...
That's a bit...
I guess we need to find another drone company we can trust then.
that's very annoying since it's unlike TikTok, which is garbage
Yeah.
anyway. That garbage doesn't need to
Dude,
exist.
I love drone
DJI
shots. I
DJI is kind of necessary because there's a lot of farmers and film and cinematographers that use
I
drones.
am a
They're
sucker
necessary
for drone shots. I am a complete sucker for them.
So am I.
So yeah, that's kind of unfortunate. TikTok, who cares about them?
A lot of people, half the planet apparently, because that's how many people are on TikTok.
Guess what? Bye bye in the U.S. Good riddance. It's really worse for humanity.
Except for people who try to use VPNs.
Yeah.
Until the U.S. figures that out.
Yeah, TikTok has always been bad for humanity. No, I can't find any positive spin on it.
I hate TikTok so much.
So yeah, it's unfortunate DJI is getting
I've said it
banned.
before.
Because I love my drone shots. Oh, Apple! Here's a new idea for ya!
Hold up. Apple could realistically just buy DJI so that way it goes under American control, like what they wanted to do, like how they wanted to sell TikTok to Microsoft.
Well, that and Apple being the creativity company, then they have partnerships with DJI. They sell them in their stores.
Or else at least Apple could acquire DJI's drone business in the US.
Dude, imagine the integration. You could use your iPhone to control the drone. You don't need to get this separate, expensive controller. Just use your iPhone to control the drone.
You can't already do that with an app?
Yeah, I suppose, but they'd probably be able to come up with some better, more tighter integration features. If Apple made a drone...
Hello, Apple.
If Apple made a drone... Then again, it would probably... They probably don't make them for the same reason that they don't make printers or Wi-Fi routers.
Just makes too much sense.
Exactly!
Why make a Wi-Fi router? Why make a good Wi-Fi router that sold well, by the way?
Yeah, it sold very well, and I love my airport.
And yours is 10 years 11 years
and yet
old.
It has better range than our much newer Wi-Fi router on the other end of the house. I can connect to my airport all the way from the end of the driveway. And it's not a short driveway. It's crazy. I find it hilarious how my car, Stardust, is it's one of those Wi-Fi smart cars. Yes, it can connect to the Wi-Fi. Before I even make it to the driveway, already it instantly connects to my Wi-Fi router.
That is super cool.
So, yeah. I don't know why Apple's not in the business of that anymore, other than it just makes too much sense.
Or Apple's not even in the server business anymore, like professional grade servers.
Yeah, I mean, through some loopholes, you can turn Mac Minis into servers or Mac Pros into servers, but it's not a dedicated server.
Like the Xserve.
Yeah.
I've honestly, ever since I learned what the Xserve was, I've kind of been interested in getting one for my collection.
Just don't turn it on. I hear it's very loud.
Oh, don't worry. I'll have to turn. I have to turn it on though. How am I going to use it?
Yeah. Yeah, I love the airport the server functionality of my router. Apple, you were onto something.
I'm considering getting one of those just for the server functionality. If I can do that, just so that way I don't have to pay for more iCloud storage.
Yeah, you probably should actually. Probably should.
Because I don't like I have very little money, so I like not paying subscriptions.
Yeah, and I paid what, $50 for mine, I think. Which $50 for for a 3 terabyte Wi-Fi server.
That's
yeah.
gold.
In fact, even my grandpa, who hates Apple, is very impressed with the idea and concept of that. So, I guess I'll take that for what it's worth.
And you usually don't buy vintage Apple
No,
products.
I usually don't. But that is one that was definitely worth the money.
And I mean, I love vintage. You know me. You know what my channel is often focused on.
But anywho, I think we butchered that to death.
We have 4 more topics to cover, and so we should do a speed round of this, especially because my voice is getting a little bit tired.
Then I have to pack for tomorrow.
Oh yeah, so our first rumor is that the iPhone 16 Pro is rumored to have even thinner bezels.
Why not just do curved edges? I mean, I get it would ruin the uniform bezel all the way around the phone, but I love the idea of curved edges.
So do I. I wish Apple would just curve the whole phone and make the edges curved, because that would look so gorgeous.
And then, like, everyone's going to say, oh, but then accidental touches. Guys, this is Apple. They have amazing software tuning for this type of stuff. How do you think palm rejection on their trackpads works? It's phenomenal. They can just apply that logic to the phone.
Yeah, Apple.
So
it's just as good of an idea as Apple making an e-ink Apple Watch.
That would probably make a pretty good Apple Watch SE.
The Apple Watch SE could start at such a lower price point.
Yeah, that would probably make a really good Apple Watch SE. Might help with battery life too.
Because it's not like you're watching video on an Apple Watch, and they have color e-ink now.
Mm-hmm. So,
and it would be viewable outside easily. Oh my gosh.
So, yeah, there's that suggestion.
Alright, I guess we shall move on to our next topic right now, which is that the Apple Watch Series 10 is rumored to come in 45mm and 49mm screen sizes. And 49mm, I believe, is the same size as the Apple Watch Ultra.
49 millimeters.
Oh no.
49
You're tempted.
millimeters.
You're so tempted right now, aren't you?
They have to do it in blue, though. They have to do it in blue.
I agree.
Because,
in fact, now that I know that Apple's capable of doing it, and hopefully they make a titanium iPhone, hopefully they make a blue iPhone 16 Pro, despite what the rumors say. Now I know Apple can do it. I really hope they make a blue titanium Apple Watch Ultra and a blue Series 10, since that would look so gorgeous.
Because, yeah, I was a bit disappointed that they dropped the blue, was it Series 8, I think? Yeah, Series 8, they dropped the blue color, and it's still not here for Series 9.
Surely the blue sold well.
I thought the blue was, like, one of the best-selling watch colors. I don't know, but, yeah. If I'm going to upgrade, they have to make another blue Apple Watch. Because, for me, the watch isn't just a utility, it's also a fashion statement for me.
Apple should offer as many colors as they can make on the Apple Watch, because...
Oh, that reminds me! I found my Sterling! I found my Sterling!
I heard.
This watch went missing for almost a year.
I actually consider getting a Sterling back on my school band Apple Watches because that's how nice they are.
I love these Sterling analog watches.
I actually have a few nice watches that. Well, where do I put my analog watches now? It's actually a good question.
I do need to get a new battery for this though.
Steve Jobs. Where do I put my analog watches? Oh. They're okay, now I know where I put it. And where my camcorder went.
Camcorders? What are those?
You don't know what a camcorder is?
I know what a camcorder is. It's just who uses those nowadays.
I actually have an old one that I got for making my YouTube videos. That's a scam that I was going to do a video on that. I need to find again. It's such a cool junk drawer. Oh yeah, this contains one of my old Logitech keyboards and AT&T SIM card. And this is one of my fake Rolex watches. This is my grandfather's old smartwatch that never worked. This is parts to my other broken black book that I need to fix. This watch almost cut off my circulation.
Ooh.
This is my first ever watch that I got back in 2014. Which I can actually demo if I put this on. It's small, but it's a really nice Timex. Yeah, this is it. It's my first watch.
Further up.
I was never a big watch wearer until I was a teenager, though, so... My mom's old Fitbit, and my other fake Rolex was really nice. This is my dad's old Prague watch that doesn't hold that well. And this is the grand jewel of all of my watches. I'm even considering trying to wear this because this is a motion power watch, because this is a really good, and so I can stiffen the leather band or loosen the leather on this, but this is a 1960s Doxa watch that my dad got found for a pretty good discount.
Oh, I had a teacher with one of those.
Yep.
Yep.
Also in this random junk drawer stuff is an old radio, which I believe works.
Anywho, we should probably finish up the other topics.
My back manual. And the weirdest radio I own. Alright, so now we shall move on to our next topic, which is how the Apple Watch Ultra 3 is mostly going to stay the same.
I mean, what is there to change with it? It's already such a great watch.
Oh yeah, here's my old Polaroid photo. Because I have a Polaroid camera, believe it or not. And this is some old teacher software, believe it or not.
What's the final rumor?
Alright, our next rumor is, and our final rumor is that a leaked Apple document reveals that iPhones receive 5 years of guaranteed 5 years of security updates.
Well, that's impressive.
I don't think that 5 years is fair for security updates since I think iPhones are supported for too long.
Let's say it's better than what Microsoft does for giving security updates.
When does Microsoft give security updates again? Oh, that's right,
Yeah,
never.
they now charge for them. They gave Windows 7 security updates, though.
Well, it's because Windows 7 was just that good. Well, it is that good, I should say.
It is technically dead now. No, they don't. There is no security updates. There's no more support for it at all in any stretch of the imagination.
Yeah, I love Windows 7.
They had something going for them, and they just threw it in the trash.
Well, I hate to be that kind of guy, but we have been recording for two and a quarter hours, and
you're editing it
almost
this
time to stop recording.
You're editing it this time.
Yeah. And somebody has to get packed. Yeah, I'm sure.
Somebody's heading to North Carolina tomorrow. Well, I'm not actually going to make it there until Sunday.
Because somebody...
Well, details.
Because somebody unfortunately doesn't have... Should I say it? Somebody unfortunately doesn't... Or I might be traveling this summer, but I don't know. But... Don't know where yet either, but... As always, thank you all for tuning in to another episode of the iTunes Family Podcast. As always, I'm Teddy Macker from the iTunes Family.
My name is Alpha DeWolf from the Random Alpha.
And as always, we are so sorry that it's been so long since our last episode came out, but we hope to see you all again in our next episode. And as always, peace out.